Today we're going to talk about politicians and term limits. Term limits is a very useful instrument to renovate our political system and to infuse new blood into the debate. I'm going to introduce the topic, politicians and term limits. Why do we have Donald J. Trump? Do you know why did we elect Donald J. Trump as President of the United States? The reason why was because people were mad at Congress. People were mad at our representative in the U.S. Congress. So in order to punish them, they elected Donald J. Trump. As an example, I'm going to give you, the three of you guys are running for office here in the community center. She's already been elected 3 times to be the board. She is a new person in the block. And she is the other person that is trying to be part of the board, of the committee place. What happens? We know she's a bad person. She has been taking the donations for her own circle. And she's a new person that is really have new issues that she's gonna bring to the discussion. She's another person that is trying to run and gain a position on board. But what happens? She is bad-mouthing other people. She uses racial profiling, and still she's running for. What happens? At the end of the day, she gets elected, and she gets elected to the board, and she gets left out. What was the reason? Because people were mad at her because she uses the donations for her own interest. And then they elected her, even though she's a racial profiler and a person that discriminates, but because they were mad at her, they voted for her. So they left a good person out of the formula that in this case was her. So that's the same situation that we had in this election. People voted for the person that they know is a bad person, but still they have no choice but to elect her, and then they decided to vote for the person that is not deserving of the position, but anyway, in order to punish her, they elected her, but they kept the bad person. So that's the situation that we had in this election. We decided to elect the bad person that represented by Mr. Trump, and we elected the same person that we have been electing time after time. In this case, was her. So in order to avoid that, it has been done before. Resolutions have been introduced in Congress to limit representatives to Congress so they cannot run time after time again. But in 1995, the issue was taken to the U.S. Supreme Court. What happened? The U.S. Supreme Court voted 5-4 to allow politicians to get re-elected to Congress unlimited. So that's the first problem. Now, this year, in 2015, Ron DeSantis, a congressman from Florida, decided to introduce legislation to stop politicians from gaining terms indefinitely. He introduced HJRES 14. This resolution would allow members of Congress to vote to impose term limits on themselves. But it was don't go away. Don't go away. What a term limit should do for our political system? It would allow diversity. It would allow more women, more minorities to be part of Congress, and they would have a new infusion of new ideas to our political system. As an example, I can use the New York City Council. By referendum in 2004, the people of New York City voted for a referendum to allow term limits on their representative. It was limiting councilmen and councilwomen to only serve 3 terms of 4 years. It's been a reality. Now, that has allowed more minorities, more women to be part of the political system of New York City. Other states have imposed term limits to their representation. In 1951, term limits were imposed for the President of the United States. So after we had FDR, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, as President of the United States from 1933 until 1945, that's when he died in office, he had won 4 consecutive terms. So in order to avoid that, the states passed Amendment 22, which allowed to impose limit terms, only 2 terms of 4 years in the President of the United States. It can be done. We only have to, there are 2 systems that can be allow us to impose terms in other members of Congress and the Senate. We'd have to assemble all the states' assemblies to vote in order to impose terms in the politicians that run on legitimate terms in our system. But we have to do one thing: we have to go out and vote. When we go and vote and take the career politicians out of their niches, we're going to have to be able to get a new system that will be better and will not allow punishment to elect the wrong person to our offices. Thank you very much.